So much for joining us this afternoon as we are going to take a glimpse at one of those big white elephants in the room, reparations. Reparations for Black Americans from the United States of America. Reparations is not a repayment for slavery. And no, it's not a handout. Reparations to repair damages that are a direct result of the withholding, not being forthcoming with properties and finances and other major benefits that should have been afforded Black Americans as a people, a free people. So we're going to look from a biblical point. There's a situation in the Bible, a man by the name of Zacchaeus. He's a mean man, and he's robbing the people. He's stealing from them. He's a tax collector. But when he met Jesus, he said, well, I'll give the people back 4 times what I stole from them. And Jesus, our Lord, said, Zacchaeus got it right. He said, today salvation has come to this home. Looking a little deeper into the book of Exodus in chapter 12. There's a situation where God is angry at the land of Egypt. He wants his people set free. He's caused a series of plagues to come upon the land. And on the night of the plague, of the death of every firstborn, be you human or animal, this is what we see.
Frogs, flies, boils, and those locusts. Death of my firstborn son? I am no match for this God of Moses and his people. What horror have I brought on my own people by refusing to let these people go? Get out, all of you. Take whatever and leave. You are no longer slaves.
And so the people did exactly what Moses told them to do. They asked the Egyptians for articles of silver and gold. And God saw to it that they found favor and did exactly that.
Oh, oh, get out and take all this with you. Take it, leave now. Oh, all these flies and these frogs and these locusts. Who heard of such misery? And oh God, oh God, and oh, my child.
Day is here. Our God has heard our cries. He has rescued us from the slavery of this land.
Just a glimpse of perhaps God's heart concerning reparations.
think? Can I go there? What do we think? Is that biblical? Are reparations biblical?
You can hear the silence after going off script, okay?
That is a very hard question, and my personal prediction is that it's going to be a very divisive conversation going forward. Again, remember, in white culture, why are you blaming me for something I didn't do?
We at Hard Work Telling Stories are addressing this discussion from the aspect of 3 different angles: cultural, biblical, the scene you just saw, historical, and financial. For those of you who get their idea of Exodus from movies, we all remember Charlton Heston as Moses. Moses, who was the descendant of Semitic people coming from the Middle East, living in Africa for 16 generations at Moses. Charlton Heston, blue eyes blazing, white straight hair blowing in the wind, 6'3" as he demanded the Red Sea part. Well, if that's your idea of Exodus, you must have been pretty confused by what you just saw. So let's ask the adapter and director of the previous scene, why and what and how. Charlene Cook.
Okay. Well, biblically speaking, the United States has always touted that it was formed on Judeo-Christian beliefs. It has put that out there. I mean, it's on our money. In God we trust. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. And we all know, God bless America, my home, sweet home. Well, the Bible is riddled with God's heart concerning reparations. This was just a glimpse. All over the Bible, in the book of Deuteronomy, it specifically says, when you set your servant free, give him a generous portion of your land and from your cattle. And the Bible is just riddled with God's heart concerning reparations.
Thank you. Now we're going to ask, I'm going to throw some questions out to our panel members. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
I'm Stanley McClellan.
I'm Clemente Edwards.
I'm Phyllis Schaefer.
To our panel members and ask them to give a brief answer. Looking at Exodus, do you think that today's Americans will find a common thread between what happened then and what's going on now?
I would suggest that they wouldn't, because I think I've heard people say things like, well, that happened, enslavement happened in the past, and that's only been 300 to 400 years. Exodus is centuries ago, so I would suggest no.
All right.
We wouldn't equate it to.
All right, another question. God said to the Egyptians and to Moses to tell them, give them your gold and silver. What would be an analogy of gold and silver nowadays?
Yeah, I go. I think it depends. It could be a number of things. You know, it could be monetary, it could be land, it could be just breaking down some of those systemic barriers that's held Black Americans back, whether it's mortgages or home loans and things like that that has kind of excluded us from a lot of the benefits that the average American would have. And so, you know, when you think of, God commanding him to give them, it doesn't necessarily have to be, just like in the piece, a handout, but it could be removing some of those barriers as well. That's excluded us from the freedoms and the equality in America.
Mm-hmm. Okay, one last question. I know that our time is short. In the Bible, in Exodus, the Pharaoh frees the slaves, and then he changes his mind. Do you think that we can find, as I say again, an analogy with after the Civil War, when African Americans were supposed to get their 40 acres and a mule, and then there was a change of mind? Mm-hmm. If we have reparations, would we face that same blowback?
Oh yeah, I don't doubt it at all. We you know, the beauty of the Reconstruction, you know, there was a lot of progress made. There were senators, there were people who had their own land, there were people who, you know, grew and developed. Then there was pushback from, you know, white Americans, Southern Americans, and they did a whole campaign, you know, just that's the word. Anyway, they did this whole campaign to put down the African American people. Mm-hmm. So then we have the civil rights, and what do? They shoot Martin Luther King, and then we have this whole back. You know, it all falls back. So we have we just have this way of, we get to this place, you know, we get to this position, and it falls back because certain people don't want progress. Certain people don't want us to get past it. We don't want to deal with that, what I call the original sin of America, you know? And if they had done it I don't think we'd be here right now if the Reconstruction had gone forward and had completed its task. I honestly don't think that we would be in this situation.
Right. Thank you. So those are some of the views that our panel has. Let's hear from you. How do you feel about this? Yay or nay? Can it work? How should it work? And are people, are Americans, white or black, willing to let it work? Mm-hmm. This is Paulette and Charlene and Stanley and Clemente and Phyllis from Hard Work Telling Stories. Thank you very much.